Okay, everyone. Welcome to the final. You made it to the final subset lecture of Common Under W of the semester. And talk about some logistics today, including the final extra credit opportunity and the final options. But I tuck in one last piece of substantive literature. So let me begin with let me begin our lecture topic. And lecture topic is going to be counterpoints and rebuttals. Now, let me back up half a step. The lecture topic is arguing thoroughly. So here, follow me, if you will, a little bit on this philosophical discussion for just a few minutes. We've all been of the principle that when we're trying to persuade, we're trying to get something that we active of what information we convey. So, go for a moment. For some of you, it might not be 2 years. For me, a lot of years. But go back a moment to, let's say, a time when you were 15 years old, and you approach your parents or maybe your grandparents, and I really think that on Friday nights, I deserve for my curfew to be 11 o'clock instead of 9 o'clock. I want a curfew extension. And your folks and your grandparents sit down and say, okay, well, why? So you then go dutifully about persuading them, and you by making points. Points are your reasons, your rationale, of your ultimate purpose and your opinion. So we have words purpose and opinion. Purpose, of course, goes through the direct writing process in the first week of class. It's the writing trifecta of topic, audience, purpose. So the first thing that we establish in our writing, it's for purpose that we springboard into a statement of opinion stated in the first person. It serves as the first sentence of our thesis paragraph. So your points are reasons, your rationale for why, in this case, why you should get an extended curfew, but for your purpose or opinion should prevail. So, for example, well, I'm a very young adult. My friends are allowed to stay out. I got good grades last semester. I haven't done anything to disappoint you badly. There's going to be chaperones there, other parents present. You don't have to worry. I'll be joined, right? So all are your reasons for you deserve an extended curfew, which is your purpose. Those are called points. Your explanation, your justification. But did you know this? Well, the first notice about that list is that it's all divided. Very responsible. There's going to be other people there. I'll be fine. I got good grades. Growing up, you have to let go of time. All of the one-sided. Meanwhile, your mom or your dad sitting back, and they're saying in their heads, time that you got in trouble at house doing some things you shouldn't have been doing, and the car without asking last week, and seen most in the fridge, and I don't know these chaperones. You've never introduced me to your friends. You know, hey, last year when the family went on vacation, you stayed behind your party in the house. They're thinking all of these things, right? You're giving your points. They're just pointing, but they argue for the opposite side of the coin. Call them counterpoints. So you've got your points, which argue that your curfew should be extended, and your past points, which is that the curfew should not be extended. The only shift between those two then is the same coin, but different sides of the coin. Curfew not extended. This call for points and counterpoints had not with one another. I grades last semester, and well, you threw that card. Anything in relation to one another. The fact that they're sides. Right? There's a component, though, and I'm going to give you, by the way, a document in just a second. Component called rebuttals. I also want to cover. Now, one of those things that we learned as young would-be attorneys in law school was the idea that we were supposed to, and this is kind of a foreign concept at the time in school, and it is probably to you now, that thorough. In order to convince your audience that you are someone with integrity, that opinions and values can be trusted, you argue both sides of the fence, because just as I'm dad are sitting there with all the reasons why your curfew should not be extended, you go in and you say, my curfew should be extended because A, B, D, and E. You leave off H and I, which are all the counterpoints. Then the right impression that are withholding information, and therefore your credibility pursuer is because full picture, you're on half of the story. The irony of this is that maximize your persuasiveness later. Your audience is credible. And credible, they need you as thorough. And it requires you to argue the opposite side's perspective. Well, here's the tough part. The tough is being thorough, meaning sides of the fence, and too far, you too effectively with points, convince your audience to opposite perspective of what you're hoping for. For analogy, you argue too effectively in us to get an extended curfew. You fight out of getting an extended curfew. here's all my points. Here's all the reasons why I deserve a few. But thoroughness, let me tell you, these are all the things that I've got going against me. And you do too effectively, then your folks might sit back and say, yeah, right, there's no way in heck you're getting an extended curfew. But there's a line between being thorough and enduring the sense of truth and being forthcoming, and being too effective at arguing the other side's perspective. And I want to do a little bit about that fine line today. Specifically, behind counterpoints and rebuttals. The philosophy is to draw in soon by demonstrating we are thorough. Thoroughness means contain integrity. Integrity means that we bring up positions which are to our own beliefs and opinions, just for the sake of getting them on the table and in the audience of those contrary positions. So that's why. Why do we make points and rebuttals? A bit more now about the how. So I want to go first over to the desktop here. Let's do it on that. And I've come a bit of a pan here. So it walks us through an example. And it's an example I've used many times with many other tools in this class. I like examples because I want to make them easy to follow. So my remember again, pre-writing trifecta, topic, purpose. My convince my audience that chocolate ice cream is the best flavor of ice cream. My opinion springboard from that purpose is something along the lines of, well, that was meant to be definitively chocolate ice cream is the most satisfying, flavorful, full and desirable flavor of ice cream, and the fact that is considered the best. That's my opinion statement. Now, what are my reasons in support of this purpose and opinion? So the assertion that chocolate ice cream is the best flavor of ice cream. Point one. Point fresh and cold. Point three, it's rich. Point four, it's creamy. Point scoop of ice cream, chocolate ice cream is inexpensive. Point scoop of chocolate ice cream is easy to find. Reasons why chocolate cream is the best flavor of ice cream. Now let's go over to the other of the coin. The purpose is now the exact opposite. If someone's trying to convince us that chocolate is not the best ice cream, what would be reasons? What would be counterpoints in support of their opinion? One, chocolate ice cream can stain clothing. Number two, it doesn't travel well. Number three, it can hurt people with sensitive teeth. And number four, it's been too long, i.e., it's boring. Okay, let's there. Because the thing I want you to notice about do lists is more points than there are counterpoints. And note about that, and this is first star in red here, is that, hey, it's arguments in life aren't equally stacked. You want to make all viable and plausible arguments that you can about any subject, but they're not stacked. Some points are stronger, numerous than some counterpoint lists, and to strive to make them exactly equal within your writing. What you need to strive for is thoroughness and reasonableness. Have I come with all the reasonable counterpoints that I can on such topic and purpose? Okay. The second thing that I want you to note about the lists is notice that the now, you have bullets, the point list versus bullets on the counterpoint list. They really have nothing to do with one another. In other words, on the point suite, chocolate cream is sweet. Counterpoint stain clothing. All right, so stress and staining have nothing to do with one another. Counterpoints don't have to relate to one another in their rationale, their thinking, but arguing for different the same coin. One that chocolate ice cream is not the best flavor. The list argues that chocolate ice cream is the best flavor. But a lot of thinking for the two distinct arguments to do with one another. Not doesn't relate to being refreshing and cold, or being around a long time has nothing to do with it being inexpensive, or so on and so forth. So points, the only common thread is the fact you for coin, but opposite sides of it. But now let's do rebuttals. Okay, rebuttals. So it's those points and counterpoints with rebuttals. And I note, number one, rebuttals can be applied to both points and counterpoints. So you can rebuttal to a point, rebuttal to a counterpoint. So two lists, and then so it was sweet. Willow point. There is a principle that something, there is a principle as something being sweet and therefore being satisfying. So isn't per se a great thing. That I have a new line of reason. A rebuttal must tie to the either a point or a counterpoint. Rebuttals stand alone. If say it's refreshing and cold about chocolate ice cream, it's refreshing and cold. The word is cold. It's the point. Cold can cause illness, particularly when the weather isn't scorching hot, causing discomfort. It doesn't line of thinking that stay with the rationale to the counterpoint side. It's stain clothing. So this is a rebuttal to a counterpoint. And that was like the ability to stain clothing, again, remember, tying to the counterpoint, but it's opposite, using the same rationale. Staining. The counterpoint says the propensity to stain clothes is de minimis, negligible. There's almost no chance that it can clothing in modern clothes washers and dryers. A point that chocolate ice cream does travel. Scoops and cones, cups are made into drinks, suggesting that it does travel well in terms of how it can be provided. So these are now, we have three. Anything thoroughly is again about establishing trust and rapport with your audience. Demonstrate to them that you're not withholding evidence. So, let's go to final notes here. Star number one in red. Note, unlike points and counterpoints that use their own reasoning and rationale to advance the purpose, rebuttal the same reasoning and rationale as the point or counterpoint attached to. That's for 2. Just I can a few moments ago that points and counterpoint lists don't equal, not point, and not every counterpoint has model. Some point or counterpoints can be so strong that there's nothing to say. Okay? Into an even more nuanced connection now. When we talk counterpoints and rebuttals, we're going to go back and pick up a couple here earlier in the semester. So, saying here, it says, when arranging points, counterpoints, and rebuttals within your, you need to do them all so as to be thorough. So use arrangement. I want your mind now. Photo essay. Arrangement in order to position the points and the rebuttals in such as to minimize your overall argument. Now, what do I mean? Well, it goes back to that thing whereby you to convey your points. Your points are rationale in favor of your purpose and opinion. But you have to include points and rebuttals. Rebut both points and counterpoints. But certainly the points and are contrary to your overall purpose. So you don't want to be too persuasive because, again, I said, you can talk yourself right out of your purpose. Notice your curfew hour because you demonstrated to me your points and rebuttals to points. That's a bad idea. So we will find the ability to arrange points, and rebuttals in the one another. So don't something persuasive with this purpose. Now let me show you a document that kind of does that. Here is a document that shows you the beginnings of the structure that begun. It was written on the end paper, so when I scanned it, it didn't come across well. I'll walk through it quickly. We have the thesis paragraph, which shows background and reasons. Sorry. We have this paragraph which shows opinions, background, and reasons. And inside we have 4 reasons. Now, one you see off on the left-hand side there, that means buzzword 1. And if you back now many weeks, I said each word has its own section. Section is between 1 and 5 paragraphs. Remember that? And many who have been critically thinking about this course asked at that time, paragraphs. Why up to 5 paragraphs? So here is the answer to that question. All weeks later. We have the first paragraph of the first buzzword. You see position in, which is also a mini thesis pursuant to the 3-part paragraph rule. This is evidence. The third part of the paragraph is explanation of evidence. And there's an error there. This says minor transition out at the paragraph. That's correct. Just omit that altogether. So we transition in mini thesis, evidence, explanation of evidence. And this first paragraph is your point. Therefore, right, you'll see a plus. It's supporting you and your opinion. That there is a rebuttal to the point. So you see there's Second begins with a minor transition and follows the same three-part paragraph structure: many thesis, evidence, and explanation. The same logic stream. So I've got a point, I've got a rebuttal to that point. Minor word, which as a mini thesis, transition sentence, serving thesis, then evidence, then explanation of evidence. This is starting to put in my first counterpoint. All same buzzword, right? Still in the same buzzword section. So I'm with the same buzz set. After, therefore, that would apply to both my point and point. That does the same rationale. Just means the word has to be broad enough to both the point and the counterpoint. I've got point, which is plus in favor, the point against me, counter against me, and I'm this fourth section will to the counterpoint. Since the counter is negative, or the counterpoint is positive. And I go minor transition, which is a mini instance, evidence, explanation of evidence, and finally, a transition out, because I'm moving on to buzzword 2, section 2. And I'm repeating type of structure like that. So you'll see on the side of this page that I've got my rebuttal and counterpoint. This is going back to the lessons you learned photo essay, arranging my paragraphs in such a way as I'm switching the negative in between positive. So start strong, weak, and then finish strong. Okay? Years ago, when I was both taking and then finally teaching self-defense, which I heard of about 18 years, a system once came to visit us, and was an older man by that time in late 70s, and he said, with fence, the first of a fight matters, and the lunch of a fighters. He says in between is just filling. Analogy, I want to tuck my rib points and my points in as I don't make them so persuasive that hurt my opinion and purpose of the essay as a whole. All right, back to this document. Last paragraph here. When writing counterpoints and rebuttals, both of those that are against my overall purpose and opinion, those are the cells. In tool usage, such as implicit argumentation, which I'm next, and the footnote citation 1-2 punch that we learned in the assignment. In the citation land assignment, we used some citations in order to augment or the meaning of a word with primary narrative. To me, that using footnotes and citations goes well with very right about these points. Counterpoints and 2 points, both of negative. Foot citations in those of your paper and meaning of the pieces of the narrative. In other words, they count against you. You read them for the sake of thoroughness, but they really persuasive. And one way to make something less persuasive as recitation line exercise with, Goldilocks, three bears, or the three pigs, be less persuasive by using footnotes and citations to change the primary narrative. So, sit on argumentation, which I will teach you next, and the positioning of all your points, counterpoints, and rebuttals, and the notes and citations, tools that can be used very well in conjunction with one another in order to be in your product document that are counterpoints and rebuttals. Now, about input argumentation. Word choice. So, implicit argumentation for the first time, I was teaching you about the tool of writing opinion sentences, the sentence of your thesis paragraph. And I said, make that a strong state of opinion. And so when you go back up to the top of this here, this is definitively, strongly, chocolate is the most satisfying, most favorable, and most desirable flavored ice cream. Contribute fact that it's considered the best. Okay? Statement of opinion about topic and purpose as a whole, which convince you end of my essay. First, argumentation, meaning words or minimize effect is to take to heart with respect to your grievance letter. If you choose to grievance letter. A grievance worth a possible 5 points. Doesn't need to be long, but practicing this idea of being direct and yet really mindful of your words. Because we could say, I never again, let's go back. Again, visit your establishment upon the poor that I received last visit. Okay, anything. House, could be a restaurant, could be a service center, doesn't matter. But say, I'm never coming back. Right? The strong end of the implicit argumentation spectrum. I am back to your store. I will again visit your establishment based upon the poor treatment that I received during the last visit. Implicit argumentation, word choice, to be more forceful, but isn't always good, right? Because I told you that you write counterpoints, rebuttals, those you them forceful. Do you? You want to minimize their impact. You want your words to fall with a snowflake hammer. Okay, let's look at word choice, implicit imitation, to write the same concept a different way. How about instead of okay, I'm tough, so shoot me if it's terrible. But say it by saying, I'm never coming back here. Or again, the establishment, so on and so forth. Those strong versions. What if I convey the same thing in a way that's diplomatic, snowflake? It doesn't change my purpose. My purpose is still to convey that I'm not coming back. But look at, I will in the future make a decision off the frequent establishment that I am aware, as I believe you are, of you provide much better service. So look at how that's just it's a falling snowflake. And the who read that, and this is, I'm having you practice this with a grievance letter. Written grievance letters, I'm sure at one point or another, whether to a professor, unfortunately maybe arguing about grading or times or whether something was late or not, or establishment, or you had to write to the registrar or those lines. You've all had to write some sort of letter, most likely, which constitutes a grievance. And here's the difficulty of writing grievances. If you, let me just number these really quickly. Use 1 or 2 as you on this piece of paper. Or it's one of the components of the pre-writing trifecta that you need to consider. It gives us those facets of audience. It's letter using technique 1 or technique number 2 to audience. Yeah, you're coming back. But I think is your proclivity to read the rest of your letter, or to heart, or make any changes, or to care about trying to convey nothing. The complaint. If note of anything during this lecture, right? But the ability in some way, as recipient does not sensitive and is able to hear your concerns, that demonstrates high use of persuasive argumentation technique. And to you, that you choose your words carefully in those moments, then you will tune out and turn off. And so, if you should undertake this extra credit assignment this semester, again, points that were to write for real, write a letter, this is your displeasure, and that the recipient and open to what you are saying and what you are complaining about. Because most grievances go to a circular file, meaning they get thrown away. You know? Because being about defenses. If I do you, you're a student. Me, you are the worst professor I have ever had. God, either circumstances will apply. I certainly don't feel that way about you all. But immediately, I don't do anymore, and you listen to anymore. But if you have citizens, and you using implicit argumentation to make palatable or digestible to the other, then answering implicit argumentation, which is the choice. Okay? Then for a moment, I think I can finish this for a moment about the final options. Of course, I have them out by email. Let's go over them here for a few minutes. You have three choices. The cumulative scores have now been recorded. Number, if you think that something is amiss with your cumulative score, something hasn't been graded or missing something, listen, I do my best, but I do make mistakes. I don't mind you contacting me. In fact, I want you to have every reserve. So if you have your cumulative score and you see something that's amiss, don't get bad at it. It's not a purpose. Just give me a buzz, send me an email, and look about what the predictive error is. So that's number one. Number two, look then at your cumulative score and are satisfied with hands. One final is you don't have a problem. The grade that you have earned to think, right? And for those who do that, let me say, you've worked hard this semester. All of you have worked hard. Whether you stay here or you can go on to options 2 or 3 that I'll provide you, we've all worked hard. And I would say, I'm not boastful about this, but I do think that in reality, and I like to be pragmatic, and this is one of the more difficult 100 W's for the Communications Studies Department and the others, but I know how hard you've worked. And it's been designed, meaning I wanted to, number one, teach you new things, and push you at times beyond your capacity and beyond comfort zones, because I believe that, number one, life will be more difficult at times, thank God, but much more difficult than this class could have ever been, and made stronger, sort of like the Japanese sword makers who heat and fold and pound the steel over and over again. It's that you feel like you've been heated up and pounded on all semester. And the reason those Japanese blades are so fine, the strongest blades that exist, they have been stretched and ripped over and over and over again. So that's what's the semester. I tried to life for grad school, for your career, and for that, I appreciate the fortitude that you has demonstrated by sticking with it, and you're incredible for doing that. And I am you in earnest. I'm there for you if I can ever be of any assistance need, take to contact me. So, option 1, do take your current grade. Option 2, you need not where you want to be. Well, the option of rewriting either the case of the spelunkers, the fact paper, or the meaning of. You're not personnel. You are not guaranteed particular points. And sorry, I'm going to open something here for you. There we go. Your points and so now we've gone through every single tool on the checklist. Those 4.5 pages of tools is what you in the last 14 or 15 weeks. And you want in the spelunkers, in the paper, or in the meaning of, in papers, you focused on a different model. So in the case of the spelunkers, organization skill. Remember, pre-writing effecta, topic, audience, purpose, paragraph, 3-part conclusion, evidence, explanation of evidence, all that sort of stuff. And then we're talking about facts, verifiability, the distinctions between fact and truth, the use and citations. In both, we do subjectivity and what we argue about the meaning of a word, and also the use of first person, the appropriate use of first person. In this final unit, I've taught you about counterpoints and rebuttals and making the argument thorough. You'll see then, as I said, ties into footnotes and ties into the arrangement that took in the fact module with the photo essay, ties into the buzzword structure and the fact that there can be 5 paragraphs and could be point, rebuttal, counterpoint, rebuttal point. Okay. So for us is to revise one of those essays. You now revise it so that it includes every single tool that you learned. Points and rebuttals. Additional element. And that, let me share with you here. That is, and I've given you an example. Annotate revision me where use equals. So you'll view on the board. It's this is you'll note my comment over on the first sentence says this is a single bold statement about the topic. I hope you convince my audience by the end of the essay. So I'm not only using every single tool on the style tools checklist, but in some comments into the essay, labeling every use a tool. The second part of this paragraph says this essay's background, which is helpful to the audience in establishing a mutual foundation for their understanding. The buzzwords they are ordered according to the lessons learned in the photo, which focus on the importance of arrangement, so forth. This is a transition sentence in. The corresponding piece paragraph also doubles as the mini piece of the paragraph. Or annotation, meaning your commentary, to reflect the fact that you understand you read. And I want to say that you understand the practice of the tool. revise the spelunks, the fact or the meaning of, and you can up to the MAC points that were originally possible for that essay, including essay weight, and therefore the 50% reduction. You adding so many tools into this essay, simply annotating it with commentary. And now, whichever assignment you choose, you minimum of 7 peer-reviewed sources, because that's the case with the meeting. With the first, it was 5, so you would need to add 2. And with the SIRS, you had no peer requirement. So you have to add 7 peer sources of information to speed on this essay. But you can, for example, if your assignment was originally late and then you received or would have a B on top of that, now down in the percentile for that assignment. If you're assigned, you can go back up to the original number of points as possible. That's for your final. The third option for your final is this. You who, like you, are in need of more than perhaps a few points, write me a brand new essay. It's on the topic of your choice, so long persuasive. In other words, you are giving me everything you desire. It will be reached. I mean, it must have peer sourcing. See my email in terms of the number of peer-reviewed sources. And every single tool, file tools checklist. And just as this example on the board in front of you, you might annotate or and describe every you use one of the tools. So, citation, 2-punch, you're going to go up to insert new comment and then say, this is of the use of footnote citation, which is to augment the meaning or change the meaning of the primary narrative. It's critical when it comes to writing points and rebuttals to points. Right? Then I think it's written on the side. You need a lot of points to raise a grade up to where you want it to be. You have to write an essay. Okay? It has it, all of these types of annotations in it, and gain you up to 85 points, which to basically accomplish whatever the task you need to accomplish. So, pursuant to my email, please check the due dates that I've posted so that I remain available now, up to final period and then thereafter, as I've said. The cell phone number, it has been my pleasure. Sorry again about the phone. It's a pleasure to be with you this semester. Please let me know if I can assist. It's a great night, a great weekend, a great semester. I look forward to speaking with you.